This is a week with two parshas. There's a lot to learn, a lot to read, a lot of messages, a lot of lessons, but we're going to do one short idea. And this is the parsha Vayakhel. We'll do the first one, that Moshe Rabbeinu comes back from the mountain, as Rashi tells us. And the next morning, it teaches them the story, the laws about building a tabernacle for Hashem, building a mishkan for Hashem. And the way he tells them, by building this mishkan, this is the way the transgression that he did, the golden calf, will get forgiven. And self-understood, the Jews very, very happy, very excited, as we have the whole story in this week's parsha. And self-understood why they're so excited, because they felt so bad about the transgression that they did. We learned last week's parsha. So wow, they see there is a way to bring it back. Hashem should come back to them and forgive them. What won't they do in order this should happen? So we learned so much stories in this week's parsha about how much they were involved in it, giving them money, work, help, just to get to the end that we can actually have the Mishkan. So this is more or less the story in this week's parsha and next week's parsha. But right in the beginning of this week's parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu teaches us about the law of Shabbos, that we have to keep Shabbos, the mitzvah of keeping Shabbos, as we have it right in the first couple of psukim and the first few verses in this week's parsha. So generally we learn why is it mentioning Shabbos over here, to tell us that as importance that is, and as excitement that it is to build a Beit HaMikdash, to build a Mishkan, to build tabernacle for Hashem, Shabbos is more important. You cannot do it on Shabbos. And what is the idea? The idea is when it comes Shabbos, you have to refrain yourself from everything. So we once spoke about the idea, but just briefly to bring out another point, that when Hashem tells us that Shabbos has got to be a day that we're not supposed to work, we're supposed to be kodesh LaHashem, completely for Hashem. There could be many layers in that. The simple layer is not to work, not to do work that you do all week. But a deeper layer in that idea that Hashem says Shabbos is Shabbos, that even about the Mishkan you can involve yourself on Shabbos. Imagine, the Mishkan is a mitzvah, and nevertheless Shabbos you have to refrain from everything, just rest and connect yourself to Hashem. It's a very strong message for us. But what is the message? That not only you're not supposed to work on Shabbos, you're not supposed to even think about work. You're not even supposed to think about anything that you think all week. Here comes Shabbos, your mind has got to change. As we know the halacha too, v'daber davar, it says, that even speaking about in Shabbos days, come Shabbos, you speak different. So the same thing, you think different. Shabbos is different. You completely don't want to have anything to do with day to day, and that's the message Moshe Rabbeinu gives us. Don't think because building the Mishkan is so important, do Shabbos too. No, Shabbos is different. Shabbos we don't build, Shabbos we don't do, Shabbos we don't accomplish, Shabbos we don't think about anything that we do all week. Shabbos we have to refrain from everything, forget everything, just rest and connect to Hashem. Just wanted to share a story about it. The story was in Amsterdam quite a few years ago. And in Amsterdam, that time was Holland, Netherlands of today. It was the first country that freedom came from Israel, freedom came for Jews. And kingdom and the Jews were all in peace, as we can call it. No like the other countries at that time. But nevertheless, Jews are Jews. So there's a story in this country, Amsterdam. There was a fine Jew. He was a jeweler, a diamond dealer to say the least. He was a jeweler, diamond dealer, whatever you want to call him. And this Jew did a lot of business with hierarchy, with the royal palace, with the royal family, with wealthy people in Amsterdam. And the story goes that was one Shabbos, they were sitting by his table, Shabbos lunch. In the middle of lunch, a messenger comes in from the royal palace that they need to buy some diamonds or a diamond today, and they want him to come over to strike a deal. But the Shabbos is having lunch, so he's telling the messenger, I'm sorry, it's Shabbos for me today, I cannot come. If you want, wait for after Shabbos. The messenger leaves, and he's having a Shabbos with his family. An hour later, a half hour later, or 45 minutes later, the messenger comes back and he gives a very important message. He said, listen, I was told to tell you that it's very important to do it today, not tomorrow. So therefore, please, we know it's important for you, but you got to do exception to the rule. You got to come over because it's important business. We really need it today. He answers back, I know it's very important, but it's Shabbos, I cannot. Tomorrow. And it's becoming a little bit edgy because, again, we're talking the royal palace. Yes, they were very kind and nice to the Jews, but still, starting up with them, it's not going to end up good. The messenger leaves. I'm making the story short. It's a long story. It comes back later, again, it was in the afternoon, late in the afternoon, and he says, I was told to tell you a third time, please to come over now. But if you don't come over, the business that you did so much with us, with the royal palace, with everybody, will get cut off. You can't give service. It's not fair. We don't want anything to do with you. So you have a last chance. Or come over now, or leave. He had already all the kids that were very involved in the business, involved in everything. They were getting very nervous. They told the father, listen, once you go over, you don't have to take their money. Just talk to them, explain them, do something. Why are you so tough about it? He said, my family, I love you all, but it's Shabbos. Don't make me do something that I'm not going to do. But the kids, they're getting very nervous with him. He says, Dad, we're going to lose our business. This is our main customers. We're going to lose everything. It's not really so bad. We can find a solution. Just go. He says, I am not going. The kids get very upset, but what can they do? They're not going to argue with their father. And he says, I'm not going. Give him the message. Too bad. If I lose the business, I'll lose the business. But I'm not going. It's Shabbos. Shabbos, I don't do business. And he leaves. The next morning, Sunday morning, the messenger comes back again, and he says, you are wanted at the royal palace now. He says, yep, now I can come. And he goes to the royal palace, and he knows he's going to get it over the head, and he, as they said, he lose the business, whatever, but he doesn't care. For him, Shabbos is Shabbos. He walks into the royal palace, and they give him like a royal treatment. It looks pretty good. And they tell him, listen, you should know that you are a great person. You're a good man. He said, why? I thought you were upset with me. He says, no, not at all. I'll tell you what happened. Yesterday, we had a friend that came from Russia. Also, a goy samacher, as they call it, a big shot. And we started talking about Jews. And he was telling us that Jews are bad, they'll kill themselves for $1, they don't care for nothing. When we said, no, the Jews are very nice people, we deal with them all the time, they're beautiful people. And they said, no, you don't know who they are, they're just a cover-up, they're really bad people. Because for them, they'll sell the soul for $1. And it was going back and forth, and finally we wanted to prove him, no, that he's wrong. So how do we want to prove him? We send a messenger to you on Shabbos to come and do business with us. And we hoped and we wanted that should be that you're going to say no. And thank God you showed us the real beauty of a Jew. You showed us that a Jew is doing what he's really supposed to be doing. And based on that, we won and he lost. And because of that, because you really showed the greatness of what a Jew is all about, You really put us in the light of to see the beauty of a Jew. Never mind not doing business with you. We'll do more and more business. Have yourself a good Shabbos.